It's time for Waking Up with Wesley. Today's forecast and weather-why discussion with WLOX First Alert Weather's senior meteorologist, Wesley Williams.
Waking Up with Wesley is sponsored by Exclusive Auto Brokers. For the best deals on wheels, visit Exclusive Auto Brokers on Beatline Road in Long Beach.
All right, good morning everyone, and thank you for waking up with Wesley. I'm senior meteorologist Wesley Williams. So looking ahead to the weekend, some summer vibes heading in to the forecast, and we're also going to see a taste of fall heading into some point next week. So let's take a look at what to expect. First of all, this morning the sunrise was really just a stunner. And we have a combo of these going. We had a nice sunrise on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So yeah, this was a pretty nice one. I guess you could call this Labor Day week. And Mother Nature was definitely putting in a lot of work, making sure that it looked nice and pretty this entire week. It looks so pretty that plenty of our viewers have been submitting pictures, and we're not going to spend a long time on them, but I do want to just show you our gallery that you can always see at WLOX.com/weather. If you go to that on your desktop computer, WLOX.com, and then click the weather tab, and then you can come over to the right, and there it is, Weather Gallery. Just click the word weather, and you can scroll through them. What I do is this little trick where I copy the link to the album and then open it up in a new tab so the pictures look even bigger like this. And so that's what we're looking at. This was a picture from Timothy showing the sunset, must be from yesterday. Oh boy, look how beautiful those pictures are. Just a postcard view. My goodness, got some cool colors on those too. They don't even look like South Mississippi. Anyway, here's another one. This is Crystal. Beautiful night on the sunset with the moon. Yeah, I did notice the moon coming in earlier this morning to work. We're actually approaching a full moon. September's full moon, I believe, is on the 7th. So there you can see that nearly full moon this morning. And just one more. This is from Heather. Sunrise over Keesler. Looks like this might have been from yesterday. And you got that beautiful view there. So all in all, a pretty nice looking day. And like I always say, if you ever get any of those weather pictures and you want to submit them to us, you can always do that with the First Alert weather app. All you do is open the weather app. That's me opening the app on my phone. And then you open up the home page. That's what it looks like when you open the home page. Scroll all the way down till you see it say right there, share your photo. And once you tap the share your photo, that's how you can take a picture of South Mississippi's beauty and shared with the rest of the community so that we can all enjoy the beauty of the area. Sometimes you can take a picture of some ugly storms too. We like looking at those too, but definitely don't forget about the nice times. A lot of times the storms get a lot of attention and we forget to take view of the beautiful coast and take advantage of the beautiful coast that we live on. Speaking of the beautiful coast that we live on, ooh boy. I see a boat out on the water this morning. Look at that water, smooth as glass in the Mississippi Sound. That's on the coast of Hancock County. We have some really light winds on the coast today. And so probably a good day to take the boat out. Good day to go down by the beach and enjoy the beautiful view. Got a lot of sunshine. It is going to be hot. Like I said, summer vibes into the weekend. So don't expect any cool down for you today. I know a few mornings ago we had some really cool temperatures in the middle 60s. We actually almost tied a record low, but none of that today. You're looking at the future, or rather the future rain as we go into the weekend. So this is getting you through Friday and Saturday and Sunday. How much rain are we going to see? Where is it going to happen? And the map shows most of this happening in the northern part of Mississippi. So as far as weekend rain is concerned, these are going to be areas from Jackson to Oxford where we find the majority of that rain happening over the next 2 to 3 days. Meanwhile, on the coast, yeah, there might be a few hit or miss storms trying to pop up, but it really does not look like it's going to be all that much. Here's a look at the day-by-day breakdown. And you can see today for Friday and the Friday night, maybe there's a stray storm. And then you look at Saturday night, looks like a little bit of an increase in the rain potential. This is because a front The fall front that brings us some changes, that front will be moving into the area on Saturday. Sometimes those fronts can kick up some showers and storms this time of year, so maybe have a little bit better rain chance that day. And then the front is gone. It's pushed offshore by Sunday, and that's what allows us to get into some drier air and eventually some pretty good feeling air too. We can take a look at the futurecast for Friday. This morning, a lot of sun. Don't forget the sunshades, and remember that sunscreen too. In the afternoon, maybe a few passing clouds. I'm not really seeing much rain by 1 p.m. in South Mississippi. Looking pretty good for your lunch plans today. If you have any afternoon activity scheduled, for the most part, not looking at much rain in South Mississippi, but watch this evening. I know it's a Friday evening. I know it's a Friday night. There might be some Friday night football in your neck of the woods. And look, there might be 1 or 2 spotty storms during that 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. time frame. We've been noticing the model showing some of these primarily near Stone County, near the Pine Belt. We don't really see them very much down along the coast, but these areas that are just to the north of the coast, we do find maybe a few little spotty pop-up storms between 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. Looks like they will likely dissipate between 7 p.m. and 10 p.m. So not a long duration thing, but just understand that that's why our little 3-day here does show that potential. You know, if you have any evening plans today in Wiggins, you may want to have an umbrella nearby, as the information is showing there might be some rain. There might also be close to George County too, somewhere near George County, somewhere near Stone County, maybe not too far from Pearl River County. There might be 1 or 2 of those spotty storms in the evening. That's actually why our rain chances, if I show you the hour by hour rain chances, we see that 10% heading into this morning, but then eventually it does increase, or is supposed to increase to a 20% as we go into the afternoon. It looks like my edits to the forecast didn't stick, so we'll edit them on the fly here, going back to 20s, because I do have some 20s to be in the area from the Friday afternoon into the Friday evening time frame. So I just sent those edits out, and we'll check back on the hour by hour rain chances in a moment to see if those edits hit. Anyway, let's track the cool front. You ready for a taste of fall? Well, it's not going to be here yet on Friday. The taste of fall, where is it on Friday? It's up here, St. Louis, Missouri, Wichita, Kansas. Those are places with high temperatures, not low temperatures, high temperatures in the 60s and 70s. So they're not going to get any hotter than 65 the entire day today in parts of Kansas. They're not going to get any hotter than 73 today in places like St. Louis, Missouri. Now, that's where all of the cooler air is, all of the drier air is behind the front. Where we are still on the hot side of things. So all of the warmer air is down here, and that's why we're still seeing these 90s for highs today, where all of the warmth is located where we are. I mean, again, you can basically call it hot here along the deep south, and relatively cool across parts of the Midwest and the plains. And so that's kind of your setup for Friday. But let's take a look at Saturday. So the cooler air is coming closer. There's also going to be some rain with some of this, especially in the northern part of Mississippi. So some showers up there. Maybe we see 1 or 2 spotty showers and storms on the coast, but it's mostly in the northern part of the state. So there's 2 reasons why the temperature in Memphis is 76 for a high on Saturday. First reason is because some cooler air is moving in. Second reason is because there might be some clouds and rain that help to limit how warm things can be there. But and still seeing that front getting closer to the coast, we go to Sunday, the front is offshore. So we're beginning to see this kind of drier push, and eventually beginning to see some of this cooler push of air that's coming in behind the front. And you're going to actually begin to notice this breeze coming in from the north and the northeast, especially the later we go into Sunday and Sunday night and Monday. So that's going to be that taste of fall coming in. So putting it all together for you here with the headlines as we track this front. Here's what to expect. A cool front is going to bring a taste of fall. For Saturday, that's going to be kind of a little bit of a increase in rain chance with the hit or miss storms. And then the front arrives Saturday night into early Sunday. Now you wake up on Sunday, you're like, okay, a cool front's here. I'm expecting it to be cool on Sunday. And don't get too excited. The cooler air kind of lagging 24 hours behind the front. So even though the front will get here Saturday night, you won't really feel it until Sunday night, a full 24 hours later. And so once we get to Sunday night, Monday morning, that's when we'll begin to notice that cooler, drier air moving into the area. But like I said, the rain chances, the hour-by-hour rain chances, I'm sure my edits have hit the forecast by now. So we run back to that and take a look at the future cast. And there you can see that 20% chance for some of those inland areas heading into Friday afternoon. So don't be surprised to see some spotty showers and storms there later today. Now, our forecast into the next 7 days looks like this. We're going to see the summerish type pattern for Friday, for Saturday. It is still going to be hot on Sunday with highs in the 90s. But then the moment of change is going to be basically right here. Right when we go from Sunday afternoon to Sunday night. That's going to be when we're starting to feel the air turning drier. We're starting to notice Sunday night into Monday morning, the air turning cooler. And we wake up Monday morning to 60s. You might also see another round of 60s on Tuesday morning. So you got 2 mornings in a row with some pretty nice conditions. And there will be some nuance. I know it says 67 on Monday morning. I know it says 68 on Tuesday morning, but this is Tuesday morning's map. The 68 is primarily areas along the coast. So you can see places around 68 like that, near and south of I-10. But once you go to the north of I-10, it's actually seeing middle 60s, maybe some places down to the lower 60s. Look at some of those 64s showing up near Perkinston, Poplarville, Picayune. So, I mean, that's pretty significant cool air that could get here as we go to parts of Monday morning, parts of Tuesday morning, some cooler mornings for you to watch out for. So that's one thing that we're tracking for you. One other thing is the tropics. We're going to take a quick look at that too. Fortunately, as far as the tropics are concerned, there's no major issues right now. Let's get to the headlines. We're going to lead with the headlines. So there's a disturbance located near the Cape Verde Islands. We've been tracking it for multiple days. Now it's been designated as Invest 91L. It's still likely to develop by this weekend. What I am noticing is a trend with the models to shifting to more of a southerly track. We've been showing some of these models, long-range models every day. And, you know, earlier this week, some of them were showing this turning east of Bermuda to the north. They're not really showing as much of that anymore. They're much farther south today. That's not a good trend. You usually want these systems to turn north early, and so to turn them north not early means they could get a little bit closer to North America. That being said, there still are no real local concerns over the next 5 to 7 days because it's really far out there and it's not moving that quickly. The next available name is still Gabrielle, and now we can see there's that area that's being watched basically between the Cape Verde Islands and between the Lesser Antilles. Some of the latest stats on Invest 91L, it's moving west at 7 miles an hour. The pressure appears to be 10-11 millibars. And you can see the latitude and longitude location there. Wind speeds estimated about 25 miles an hour. So do we see anything that looks terribly organized there? And the answer today is not really. There's no well-defined center. There's probably no closed-off circulation, and the thunderstorms are lopsided. You see dry conditions on the east side and some thunderstorms on the west side, and even those thunderstorms look pretty pathetic. So that's good. We want this to keep looking disorganized. Here's the thing. For Friday, for Saturday, it's got a medium chance to become a depression or storm. Then Sunday and beyond, it's got a high chance to become a depression or storm. Today's short-range model not really looking too impressive with any development in the short term in the next day or so. You know, yesterday and the day before yesterday, it was kind of spinning this up to become a hurricane. Today, this computer model is less impressed with this disturbance. It barely even shows tropical storm strength. And we have another model, the European model, this green X, that actually makes that fall apart. So even though the GFS keeps the system kind of on the strong side and curves it up to the north, we have a different scenario, the European, which there it is. Sometime the middle of next week, it's so weak, it keeps moving west and then it just falls apart. So is that going to be what happens? Or is it going to be like what the GFS shows, where it gets a little bit stronger, and stronger storms usually want to turn more to the north? So it comes up near the Lesser Antilles, comes near the Puerto Rico, and then by Saturday, September 13th, Sunday, September 14th, it's located to the north of Puerto Rico, 200, 300 miles north of Puerto Rico. So it's either going to be 200, 300 miles north of Puerto Rico by next weekend, or it will have fallen apart before ever getting anywhere near that. One good thing that I am seeing, so give you an insight into the nuts and bolts of how I create this graphic. Anytime you see these little yellow wind particles, those are wind particles of tropical storm strength or greater, so 40 miles an hour or greater. So the GFS is showing at least a tropical storm here. But those winds of 40 miles an hour or greater can appear anywhere on the map if there's any kind of stronger systems anywhere. And what we are finding is you see them over here too. There's a lot of strong wind coming in from the northeast. This is not a tropical storm, but it is a windy pattern in the environment. And if you have a tropical storm running into this type of wind shear, that's what that really is, it would actually run into some issues, and it would likely weaken any system that tries to make its way up toward that area. So just keep that in mind, that maybe as if this is what happens, it's getting north of Puerto Rico by next weekend. If it's trying to come too close to North America, perhaps we are seeing some strong wind shear that would help to weaken any kind of system coming closer to our part of the map. So hopefully that's how that turns out. Now that it's an invest, you can see all these spaghetti models, and we're looking at some of the lines, most of the lines kind of in agreement with the GFS model. Some showing the European scenario too. Like if we rewind this, let's see, there's Monday, there's Tuesday, and if I take this full screen, let me add some pause points here, and we're going to go through this day by day. So here's Sunday. The possible system located somewhere around here. We're looking at the ends of the lines to see where it's going to be. All right, here's Monday, a lot of spread. Is it going to be up here like the GFS is saying, or is it going to be down here like the European is saying? And watch how these lines down here, they just stop. They just end. They truncate quickly. Like right there, they stop moving. So that's the indication of the system falling apart out here in the central Atlantic. Meanwhile, you got other lines that are racing toward the Lesser Antilles. That's that split that we just showed you between basically GFS-like models and European-like models that show that difference in scenarios. And look, we go to Wednesday, these scenarios, the thing is still dead down there. Meanwhile, you got other scenarios where it's getting closer to Puerto Rico. And then, of course, Thursday, Friday, again, still dead down here. Or is it basically near or to the north of Puerto Rico by that point of time? So, you know, with that type of spread, you have, you know, a hefty 1,000 to 1,800 mile spread in scenarios of how 91L is going to work out. So not really looking at a lot of certainty in the forecast for how this could shape up over the next 7 days, but as we take a look at more and more models into the coming weekends, or excuse me, coming days into the weekend and next week, then maybe we can get a better idea of exactly how this is going to shape up. But just understand that right now, a lot in the air with this. You can't lock into one scenario right now, but it is something that we're going to watch, and as we're going to have many days to watch it because, again, remember, through Friday, September 12th, it's not going to be located over here. It is going to be located at the very worst back here. And that is still, you know, about 3 to 5 days away if it wanted to continue to move toward if it somehow manages to get there and wanted to continue to move toward the north and west, still would take it an additional basically week to get from around Puerto Rico toward areas like Florida, the Bahamas, or points west of that. So It's not going anywhere in a hurry. It's not going to sneak up on anyone as we have many days to track this and hopefully get a better handle on the expectation of where it will go and the expectation of how strong it could be. Hopefully it's like a lot of the other storms that have formed this year. They just stay out in the Atlantic waters and don't really come toward the Gulf Coast. I gotta say though, we definitely have to keep an eye on this stuff, and not just that, but just anywhere. As we are this close to the peak of hurricane season, over the next 7 to 10 days, we are entering the peak of hurricane season. And when you're at this time of year, storms can just pop up anywhere, wherever they want. You know, sometimes you can get lucky with if we have some cool fronts coming in. That might help to create additional wind shear, which helps to limit storm formation in our local area. But just understand that basically the entire Atlantic basin is up for grabs. Gulf, Caribbean, Atlantic. We watch everywhere during the peak and near the peak of hurricane season to make sure that nothing's trying to pop up. And as you look at the whole map, again, fortunately for today, there's only one spot being watched by the National Hurricane Center, which is 91L, but understand new areas can pop up pretty quickly when you are near the peak of hurricane season. So we're keeping our eyes open to any possibilities over the next couple of weeks here. And hopefully we can get past the peak of hurricane season and continue to be spared here along the Gulf Coast. Well, that'll pretty much do it for this Friday edition of Waking Up with Wesley. I've been Senior Meteorologist Wesley Williams. Enjoy the summer vibes this weekend as we look forward to the taste of fall arriving Sunday night into Monday morning. Till next time, have a good one.
It's time for Waking Up with Wesley, today's forecast and weather-wise discussion.
Waking Up with Wesley has been sponsored by Exclusive Auto Brokers. For the best deals on wheels, visit Exclusive Auto Brokers on Beatline Road in Long Beach.